Kellyscards.ca, and I'm glad you could join me for this 5th card in this card kit series. Again, this is the Everyday Card Kit number 5, and I've picked more of a Valentine's theme card, being that we're going into January and February here. So I have also die cut a few items, this beautiful heart as well as this little love you. I've embossed this portion with an embossing folder. So I've picked out some colors that will work good, and I've set it up like this. And I'm just going to remove all of this so you can see I've rounded the corners on this card as well. I thought it would just give it a little bit of a softer look. And what we're going to do is we're going to start piecing together this card. For these strips, I am just going to use a little bit of tape runner, and I'm just using this scrap paper to make sure I don't get adhesive on the back of this mat here. And I'm going to piece this very first one down, and then I'm going to put everything down quite like how we did the other card, and just to make sure that I like the placement of everything. And we're going to piece all the pieces after. Really, this one is the most important one because it starts the series of the strips going down. We want to make sure it's nice and straight, and it looks to be pretty good. So we're going to leave this one here, and I'm going to start adhering the rest down. And this makes really a fun card because you've got such a variety of papers. If there is any little strips stuck on the other side, we will snip them all off at the end. And then this little piece, this was from some paper that was a vintage Valentine's type paper. And I'm going to put this one right up against the other one and push that down. And then this one has a little bit of glimmery hearts on it. So I'm going to put this one next to it just to add a little something different. So when you get to here, we're going to adhere this piece down first, and I'm going to use a little bit of a tape runner along here. You can use the score tape as well. And I'm going to place this down and match up the corners. And I'm going to put that down. Now this red strip, we're going to put the adhesive on it here, and then we're going to place it right on top, just tucking in to this shiny red paper. And we're just going to make sure we get it right nice and even. Just like that. And I think that looks really nice. Now I'm going to just take my scissors and I'm going to open up the card here, and I'm just going to cut these little edges off, whatever might be sticking out, just to make sure that it is nice and even. Just like that. And that looks really good. I'm just going to push down these strips just to make sure they are on there. And now I will take this die cut. If you have any little pieces that haven't come through, you can just take a poker and just poke out the little pieces. I've already done that on this one, and this is going to layer on top, and then this red heart will kind of be down like this. And of course we also have our sentiment. I think we will do that next so that we can move the heart where we want it. I think for the sentiment I'm going to have it like this, and there's a couple different ways you can adhere it. You can use the little adhesive pens, or you could also use like some wet glue like what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this multi-medium, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of it on this same scrap paper that I had used earlier. I'm just going to dab some here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to grab that word you, and I'm just going to dip it a little bit into this adhesive so that I get a little bit of adhesive. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap off the extra because we don't want to glob this. And we're going to bring this card in now, and I still have it on the tweezers, and I'm going to place this down, and then what I'm going to just do is take my fingers and just hold it down for about 30 seconds just to make sure it is down there and it's not going to move on us. And this is a really fast way to adhere these little word dies that are pretty intricate, and it doesn't take much adhesive. It's just kind of more the technique used than anything. So now that that's on there, I'm going to do the word love, and I'm just going to put a little bit more adhesive down here. So I'm just going to take the word love and get those edges into the adhesive. And again, they don't have to be full of adhesive, but just enough that they're down. And now I'm going to take and I'm going to dab off again the little bit of extra left over, and I'm going to bring in my card and release those tweezers. And now this is where wet glue is awesome, that you can kind of move it around. If you don't feel it's nice and straight, you still have that wiggle time. And I'm just going to push that down and make sure I like where everything is. And again, I'm going to hold it down. And now once that's on there, it's really good to go, and I really like how that works. Even on the embossed paper, you can still get it nicely adhered even with some of this little bit of wet glue, which we will use again in a second here on the sequence. But for the next step, I have got this heart, and you can raise it up on some pop dots or you can lay it flat. Definitely this red heart I'm going to put on pop dots. And this one here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this flat. And I'm just going to put adhesive on the inside part, not on the outside. And this is going to come in like this. And I'm just going to have it a little bit above the sentiment. And again, you want to kind of watch where you're putting it so that it is centered across here well. And then now we can just make sure this is down. I'm going to bring in this heart now, and I really wanted to stick it out nice, so I'm going to make sure this one is definitely on pop dots, and I'm going to use these here, and I'm going to have to cut a smaller one here just for this edge, and I'm going to put. So now we've got the adhesive backing off, and we can put it on the card, and I'm just going to have it so that the heart is mostly on here, and that way we don't see this laced and doilied part through, and we'll just put it down like that. And now that we've got that there, I have picked out a few sequins, a really nice little clear one, a white one, and then this cute little red heart sequin. And we're going to place it down, trying to figure out what place it would look the best. And after I did some moving around earlier, I came up with this being about one of the best placements. And I like it all kind of in this corner because we've got love over here, and because the word you is a little bit lower, we can have enough room for these sequins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my matte medium, and I'm just going to slowly lift it up. And as I showed on one of the last videos, I just use my little poker here, my little tool, and I will push it down just like so. So I'm going to do that again with my clear sequin, and I'm going to bring it in and use my tool to help guide it there. And then this white one here, I'm just going to again use my adhesive and put that down as well. If you get a little bit of glue in the circle part, you can just remove it if you have one of these tools. I love these tools for that reason. And then that is going to help adhere that. To finish things off, I've got a little bottle of Glassy Accents. I'm just going to add a little bit of this to this red heart, and this will take a long time to dry, but when it dries, it is going to be amazing. And I just love doing this occasionally to a few of the elements on the cards. It just helps it stand out and add something just a little special to the card. So the camera ran out of battery just as I was doing the glossy accents on the heart, so it's now dry. I've put an acrylic block on top of the sequence just to help it settle, and now it is all dry and down. So the next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the little insert into the card. And again, this just helps kind of keep the weight on the front of the card similar to the back of the card. And I'm going to have this in. So we're going to put this in. And then you'll find one last heart, and you can pretty much put it wherever you want. I'm just going to adhere it and put it down into this corner. So that finishes up the card. Just love the papers in this card, the embossing, and you know, even the little added sequence and the beautiful die cuts here. Really like how this card came together. And again, the glossy accents on this heart, again, you're going to have to let that dry for quite a while. It takes quite a while for that to fully dry, but once it's dry, it's amazing how it's just shiny and it's got a little bit of gloss on it, and really love that element. So I hope you enjoyed this card. There is one card left in this series. There is also 4 other cards that have already happened, so you can check out the playlist. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.